Chris, why don't we just start off, just tell us who you are, again, your company, a little bit about your company, what you do,
Okay,
how
sure.
big you are, and all that.
All right. Well, my name is Chris Conrad. I am Safety Director of Sterling Transport. We're home based out of Lakeview, North Carolina, which is small town Sand Hills area, North Carolina. So I actually live closer to Raleigh. But right now we run about 350 trucks, about 312, 15 company drivers at the moment, and the balance owner operators. We are a hazmat carrier. We specialize in natural gas liquids, propane, butane. So we're covering our big states. We've got a terminal in Worcester, Ohio, which is up south of Cleveland. Our home office in Vass, Richmond, Virginia, Chesapeake, Virginia, Houston, Texas, and Columbia, South Carolina. But the large part, we are spread out. We've got trucks, a lot. We've got about 60, 70 trucks working in Texas, all the way from Brownsville, which is a little point of Texas, all up through Houston, you know, the oil and gas industry. We had a huge concentrate. We got about 70, 80 trucks working around western Pennsylvania, the oil fields up that area, Ohio, like there. So kind of a history of us. 5 years ago, we were sitting on about 130 trucks and drivers, and then we had the big fracking boom up Marcellus Shale in Pennsylvania, West Virginia. Set of circumstances, we had an opportunity to get into it big, and we went big up in Ohio, Pennsylvania. That has since waned, and we shifted, and we started growing in Texas, and
Sure.
you know we're down there, still steady up there, but now the growth is more towards South Texas. So, but when I first came on board back as a safety director, came back in that role as safety director, like I said, we had about 130 trucks. We had 4 terminals, all within a 150-mile radius. So my world was nice. It was pretty. And then we decided we were going to do all this. And traditionally, we had done safety meetings. We had done biannual safety meetings. It would be Friday nights, Saturday mornings. I would do it at 6 locations, 6 weeks every spring, 6 weeks every fall. That was my life, you know. And I don't know who does safety meetings, but I mean, I hate safety meetings. I mean,
So do the
a
drivers.
lot of money, a lot of expense. Nobody's happy to be there, you know. And you got about 20 minutes worth of attention span, and then it just degenerates, typically, no matter what you do, you know. So we had that going on. We were growing in all areas. I just couldn't keep the training with hazmat. We do a lot of training. We got a lot of specialized training because of handling the products. So at the time, we have a consultant, Mark Levinsky, with our insurance and captive, and he kind of turned us on to this, and it's been great. I don't know what looking back, I don't know what we would do without it, and we've been with it over 2 years, but I kind of took a point now. I had a training, we kind of shifted our department around. I've got 5 full-time people in our department, but I've got the one girl who was like our training coordinator left, so I took it back, and she was just using it for the minimum, you know, just a 1 monthly safety training, monthly, and you know, just more of a compliance standpoint. But I'm super excited. It's just so much you can do with this system. It's just unreal. I'm here learning about the custom. We're going to ramp it up. Got so much opportunity there. All our benefits are going on. I was talking to Amy before. Orientation. We have an orientation room like this. Beautiful. Surround sound, video. Beautiful. We did a 2-day orientation that everybody in this room you would be impressed. But you know who wasn't impressed were really the drivers. We were spending a lot of money. We were flying them in, you know, from Texas, Pennsylvania, wherever. And we do a good job. We do a great job, but you always get a couple clowns in the room or somebody, and it just disrupts the speaker. And then you waste all this time hearing the truck driving stories, and then you got to fly through, you know, something, or it just was inconsistent training, and I had great coordinators doing that. And then I got a coordinator in Texas. His whole mind is a little different than what we do in North Carolina. So it's brought that consistency. It's awesome. It's a great system, and like I said, we're doing more and more on it. We're going to try to get the president involved, do some of that. Our newsletter for the first time will be through Infinit-I rather than just emailing it out. We're trying to tie everything through that system.
Fantastic.
So it's kind of a little bit what we do there.
I got a question. Did you have any kind of a perception about online training before you started it? Any preconceived ideas, or what were your thoughts about it before you started it?
I guess I was kind of in desperation mode. What we had, so it was going to work one way or the other. But my real concerns were we had a lot of old school drivers, and I said, man, this is going to be a real challenge. But what I found out is just with the e-logs, some of our older drivers are the best ones with it. And then the younger drivers, this is just part of their everyday world. So that was the biggest fear I had, but it really never reared its head. The biggest challenge I had with it was just getting kind of the more ornery guys just to do it, which they were the same ones I fought to get to the safety meetings, or the same ones, I fought to do remedial training with. So it's really nothing new. So,
any questions in the audience?
How long did it take you to implement it?
what we did, we sent out. They even give you a like a welcome letter. We sent out like we used to do a monthly newsletter, which just the cost of sending out 350 letters, So we sent the last letter out, kind of introducing it, and they set you up, and it's easy. We use a Ram McNally system, so as far as username, password, they use the same username that they sign into their truck every day. So that was easy. That kept everything simple, and we rolled one out, and the second training didn't go out to probably 6-8 weeks later, just to try to get it, and then that was in the fall, and then we skipped a month, just to kind of be real, push them, and then we pretty much went monthly, and we still fight the same, small group of people, but once they get in the habit, it's almost like a habit. If you can get them to do it 3-4 months in a row, you're over the hump. Now all the new guys coming on, because of orientation, and even when we were doing the in-house orientation, a big part of the orientation is we actually viewed a couple things just like you all did today. So they were very familiar with it. So the new people starting, they don't know any different. So that's easy. It's just kind of keeping guys on it. Now, I got a guy on work comp, so I give him I get an email to list every Sunday evening of deficiencies, and you get somebody on work comp or whatever. Nobody in our department has time, but I'll just give him the list and call him, and then he calls them all again in like 3-4 days. And you're getting, if you're late, you're getting a daily email, which is annoying. My wife stays on, she said, will you please do this? Because I got myself set up as a driver. So it's like, please do it. They're blowing my email up. So.
For those drivers that weren't tech savvy, what did you do special for them? Any one-on-one training, or how did you deal with those folks?
Well, we sent out, they give you you guys produce a step-by-step instruction. And the thing is 90% of the people could figure it out. We got coordinators in the field. So if somebody was, in that initial month or two when guys weren't, I tried, I couldn't, it wouldn't do it,
Yeah.
So Matt or Wesley, one of the coordinators, has a laptop, and they just sit there in the truck with them and do it. And you still I was joking with somebody, I think it was Amy, that get a call every now and then, because we make them get 100%. And I had a guy call me the other day, he said, it's not working. I said, well, let me log in under you, see if it works. It's working. He said, well, no, it's not, because I keep taking I watched the video, and then it won't, and take the test, but it won't give me credit. So what he was doing was failing. Because it was a simple test and only had like 3 questions, so he was missing one, you know, and it kept failing him, and so that's kind of a funny story. But you get a few people who are just, you almost have to laugh with them, you know.
Sure.
But people get it. It's very easy.
Yeah. Any questions out there?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Have you used it for CSA scores at all? Have you used any of those?
Well, I look for trends in CSA, and right now we're focusing on speeding. That's what beats us up on our unsafe driver score is the speeding. If that's our #1 violation. So that new video, they just put out a new one on speeding a month or 2 ago.
Right.
They were assigned that a couple weeks ago. I heard Dean speak a couple months ago, so I had the whole catch up on the whole. He was going over the fatigue management, so we had a fatigue management slowed me down a little bit, but we got everybody up on fatigue management because that was a little hole, and that's the beauty of it. You find out some CSA, you know, DOT's hitting you up on this, or you got to get something out. You know, nobody's trained on fatigue management on paper.
Yep.
Boom. I mean, I send it. I have the whole fleet trained up in, you know, a matter of weeks, basically. Yes,
Chris,
sir.
have you had any feedback on, are your drivers using their iPhones as actually
Yeah.
tablets?
And
Is that a positive for you? Is that?
Everybody has iPhones now, and most of our drivers have iPads. The guys who stay out, we got a lot of drivers who stay out weeks at a time, especially down in Texas and stuff. They'll stay out. Most of the guys who stay out, the over-the-road drivers, like that video, are very well connected because they're using it for home and family. Most everybody's got an iPad, and with an iPad, you know, it's as good as, you know, anything. So they're not. I think we underrate the average truck driver. We think he's kind of an old school guy. He doesn't like any of this stuff. Most of them can teach me things on a computer because they
Sure.
I know when I live on the road, you know, you become dependent on it. Earlier this spring, I was in Brownsville for an extended period of time, and you just really honed your tech skills because you're like forced with it. And these guys, that's the world they live in. So they're very savvy.
Did you have any drivers that said, I don't have any access to the internet?
Yeah, I got one, and he goes to the library every month. And I got another guy, he comes by, 1 or 2 come by the office that their computer broke and he don't have money to fix it. We kind of tell them with the online application and then with orientation, I think it's going to weed those people out. Because we've got to the point with a few drivers where I said, hey, this is a condition of employment. You know, and he's like, well, who's going to pay for my phone or my minutes or my airtime? I'm like, you know, you're going to have to figure this out. It's 2016. You're going to do it this way. and you know, it is a condition of employment. Yeah, I mean, it's yeah. I'm glad that, what's his name isn't here, because that's probably not the way he teaches you to talk to drivers, but you get to that point. Yeah, you know, we've had those conversations.
Worked, didn't it?
Yeah, you know.
It's really not turnover, you told him that in the hiring process.
Right, and that's and I'm not, but I think that's the beauty of doing it online is because if you have somebody who's like that, and there are a few people, I say it's a very small percentage, those people aren't going to never make it. We still bring them in, they'll come to report to their home terminal, the safety coordinator spend an hour with them, you know, just kind of do the DOT paperwork that can't be done online. And then they'll meet their dispatcher and the terminal manager, things like that. So they're still getting that interaction orientation, but they're there to pick up the truck and go. It's not like you're flying them in and you got all this huge expense, 2 nights motel and all like this. They're there for 2 hours and they're gone. So
That saves
Yeah.
a bunch.
oh, it's huge. Yeah, the money savings is huge.
My question was, how do you get your drivers to buy into it? And at the end of it, within
Yeah.
How do they work that with, part of it done on this day and part of it done on another day and sometimes at home or whatever?
Yeah.
How, do they have to log it just in increments or what?
Well, most of the videos are broken down. It's great. 8-10 minutes is your typical video, which is what our guys are. We do a lot of waiting in line to offload at refineries and all. So they'll do it. They're on duty. So that's always a debate. Well, I heard that from the beginning. Well, you gonna pay me? Because we would pay them to come to the safety meetings, just a flat rate. But then when we bought them, it was breakfast or dinner, so you had that, and some of them would drive their trucks. So you got, they're buying diesel fuel. The guy deadhead, 50 miles to a safety meeting. So you got that, it was a huge cost. But they bought into it. They can do the training when they want to. They don't have to be there on Saturday morning. It mess up, it ruined the day pretty much for them too. We'd have the meeting at 8 o'clock, but the time they messed around, it ruined their morning, or their day for the most part. So they were glad, most people are glad to do that. Now, I think the only disadvantage where I think that they like to meet people, truckers they like to meet people face to face. And I think that's what we're picking it up now. With the company president, we're going to get him doing, the chief operating officer, she's going to do some videos and stuff because they want to feel that, they want to see that interaction. But now when our guys are in the field, their time is better spent with people than with safety meetings and stuff. So really nobody fought it. I don't think anybody, other than the part with the computer, I'm not used to computers, I don't know how to do this. But that goes away real quick. And the percentage of people that don't have computers, because even your old school guys, they're kids. My daughter lives next door and she's got a computer, or in the house, So they're not as, I think we underrate their tech abilities as a whole.
Any others from the audience? I've got one if nobody else does. Curious about something, Chris. Do you manage the program yourself? In other words, are you making assignments and running reports, or are you leaning on your client service rep for some of that sort of thing?
My client service rep is Nakisha, and she's been great. Now, they'll help you as much or more, as little as you want. Now, in the beginning, I would just send it all to her because I kind of took this program over from a girl who was kind of doing it, and we were just kind of doing the mineral. And I had, when I took it over, we kind of revamped some stuff, and I put all our OSHA policies, all our policies are online, and of course we sent them over where they had to say they received them, checked, certify they got it, received, understood, and then went in their resource center. So all our policies are there. And then this past, we had to do that IS Net World. I don't know if anybody's got to do that. So I had to revamp a bunch of policies because they required, a phrase of this or that. So I revised a whole bunch of our policies back in the spring. So I sent all the revisions over, and that they have the new updated policies there. So it's good that way. But I do it all now. They do all the work for you. So I just basically, I got all these policies, I just sent them all to her. And I said, I want them to go, because I have a mechanic group, we have a transloader group who works with the rail cars, owner-operators, company drivers, and then we have a management group. So, I would tell her what I wanted to what. And then this, just a month or two ago, this first time I did all the trainings, I got a whole year out almost. Not the drivers, but with all the shop folks and stuff we have, most of that's because of OSHA annual training. So that's all pre-assigned out a year. And she did all that for me. I just sent her an email with, I want this on the January, February, March, and the training beside of it. And she did it all. And it's all programmed in there. But it's really easy. The system's easy. As far as assigning like a remedial training to a driver, it's quicker for me to do it than it is to call her. She'd gladly do it. And she actually called me the other day, hey, anything I can do for you. She'll call me about it. She doesn't hear from me in about a week, 10 days. I think I wore her out. She's calling, thinking something's wrong. So she calls, but she's really good.
They're very proactive.
Yeah, they're anything I can do for you. But they'll do as much or a little. But most of it's so easy. You'll get her to do all that. But then you'll do more and more yourself. As far as remedial trainings, you catch somebody. We have DriveCam in all our trucks, which I love. We catch a behavior, we'll go ahead and assign something right then and there. Or any roadside inspections, you get written up for brakes, written up for speeding. I've got modules lined up that correlate with all those different violations, and I'll assign it to them. So I'll sign the Aspen Form, fax it back to DOT, and then I'll assign their training, and it's done. And I can just it says remedial on it, and I'll add the date of the violation. So if DOT comes in, they want to see remedial training, corrective action. I've got a corrective action that correlates with every Aspen Form.
And it's in writing,
Yep.
signed and stated.
Yep. Go ahead.
So, Chris, would you say, since you've been on this program, have you done any safety analogies for data showing where you maybe improved the safety program since using vertical lines?
I don't have numbers, and I keep promising everybody I'm going to get numbers, but there's definite improvements, and we've had a bunch of projects going on, and I just haven't, but I can definitely tell you, we've got the best, as far as our OSHA 300, best year work comp going in 7 years. And it's really, we just been pounding the slips, trips, falls, a bunch of videos. So I have definitely seen that. My big thing now is the speeding. We've been pounding the speeding, because that's what's the little 1 to, or the 5 to 10 speeding, where, the guy says, man, and half of them you wonder whether the DOT man. North Carolina is very aggressive. Our highway patrol, or DOT, which is under the highway patrol, what they want to be highway patrol. They're very aggressive at times, I think, towards that. And I think we pick up a lot of 5 to 10s over that I don't know if we deserve or not. And when you data queue them, they kick them back. And we've got the Rand McNally system. And I had to, I data queue it, I send them Rand McNally data, and then they want to know how does Rand get this information, because they don't trust the actual data from Rand. So it's like, you you won't win it. It's really kind of, you feel like it's rigged for a certain part. But so we'll focus hard on that. We're kind of going a level deeper on that. With the Rand system, we can go in there and actually pick up some behaviors. So that's what we're working there. Yeah.
Now, combining the Infinit-I with your e-log and your DriveCam system, are you noticing an increase or decrease with your safety tendencies?
Oh, it's the DriveCam, the combination is a 1-2 punch. The DriveCam, they'll get over that. If you want to know some driver resentment, install a DriveCam system for that first, Yeah, this is nothing, You put cameras in the trucks, you'll get it.
Are you seeing an increase on what your patterns are and noticing a better,
yeah,
safety side, are you seeing an increase in what your patterns are? Where you're able to attack your patterns?
Absolutely. Well, we, believe it or not, our biggest thing, and we had gotten some CSA violations for driver unbelted, not wearing seat belts. When them DriveCam went in, you would be surprised the amount of drivers not wearing seat belts. I was totally blown away by that. I was totally blown away. And we went through the whole, I had a buddy got thrown clear, he would have killed. Once we got through all those stories, and we gave them about one warning, and that's it. It's company policy, it's federal law. You are going to wear the seatbelt or bring the truck to the yard. we went to nothing. And then our cell phone policy is we don't allow, I'm a strong believer, and Dean hits on this, no cell phone. I think the whole hands-free thing is the biggest mistake the DOT ever did. It's just, we had a rollover in Texas, down there by Corpus, about a month ago. Guy's on the cell phone. He passed a refinery where he was delivering. So, you know, you don't miss refineries, right? You know, for the most part. Right. So, so he drives by it, goes into a turn, which wasn't even a bad turn, laid the truck over. And he's on the phone. We had DriveCam footage of the whole thing. And he's so concentrated on that conversation. It was with his wife, because that's how his wife called in a panic. I was just talking to Doug, and it went black. I am so hard on that, and we pounded that hard. And now I don't get. You go in stages. First thing was just out and out abuse. You know, just talking on the phone, and then a lot of guys are there. They're checking, looking at. They see it. They don't answer it, but they look at it. They pick it up to see who's calling. So we crushed it down to nothing. And it's a terminable offense with us. It's kind of a big initiative. That was a big personal thing with me. And and then you have a rollover with that. And it's like, but what we did with your system is I wanted to make a big deal of it. So I put wreck pictures. I put a letter out, kind of a welcome letter for the training, talking about the accident, told about it. Of course, we left the driver information out. And then I posted 4 pictures of the accident. Very, disturbing pictures of the accident. And then I had the cell phone policy behind it that they had to re-sign, basically re-click on that they received the use of cell phone. So we made a big deal of it, and we did it. I had that out 2 days after the actual accident. So it was current, it was like, and that's what I'm really trying to do now is make this stuff current. Back in June with the road check, we had videos related to DOT inspections, and then, we kind of flavor everything towards the
Gives you
season.
the opportunity to get training out.
Yeah, it makes it seem really current. Like it's like, man, this is training is like today's stuff, So it's really cool, even though you can program it out. Like June we do heat stress training. We do that every year just because our guys have to be outside with fire retardant clothing, in the heat, attending the truck. So they're out in that heat. So we do that every year.
Other questions?
Chris, I don't know if you might share, you and I discussed maybe your process of DriveCam and kind of how that impacted your coaching on that. Do you want to share a little bit?
Yeah, so anytime I see a DriveCam event, my coordinators every day, that's how they start their day. It's basically 8 o'clock, we review the DriveCam footage, which is typically downloaded overnight, and then it's there in the morning. So it's divided up, DriveCam, you can divide it up in regions for your different coordinators, and that's how they start their day. Over their morning coffee, they're sitting there watching DriveCam videos. And now DriveCam screens out all the events except for where they see. You give them a list of behaviors you want, and you can behave any way you want. Set that up. So the drivers that get it, they'll review the footage, and if they see something, say they saw a guy smoking, our guys can't smoke in the truck because of the hazmat. Say the guy, and they're getting clever. They know that, but they'll still catch them. They'll smoke and they'll hold the cigarette down by their leg, and doggone it, that's when you hit a bump, man. You know what I mean? And it's like, but it's funny. They'll figure it. They will get caught sooner or later. DriveCam only does it on an event. So you have to have a G-force event or you trigger. And when I went with DriveCam, we had the old Roscoe cameras with the chip in them. You pull the chip and you could download it. Problem with them is when they go down, you don't know it. And most drivers aren't going to call you and say, hey, my camera's out. So that was the initiative of the DriveCam, was that, hey, if it goes out now, DriveCam is alerting us that it's out, and then you can get it fixed. So I catch a guy smoking, or and then they'll assign him training right then and there. But they know it's kind of that, you know, they hate the big brother thing, but they kind of get over that, and then they know that they're actually being watched, but it's not so much a negative thing. It's just, okay, I'll finally just straighten up and do what I'm supposed to. They kind of get over it, but it's a good fight, you know, till you get to there. But you can kind of, my advice with all that stuff, I'm just kind of aggressive towards it, and it's like I really just don't care. You know what I mean? The guys like you're putting the camera in, and they're like, you know, I quit, you know, and I said, okay, you know, well, ain't no problem. You want to ride home, you know, and they'll get over it, you know. But now we've got people with the cameras that there's been wrecks. We had a side swipe, a car coming the other, it was Monday morning, coming the other way across the center line, basically head-on side swipe our truck. It could have been really ugly. But you know, when the driver got out of the car, I mean, if he'd been over another foot, it'd been a fatality. He hit the front axle, bent the rim, Alcoa rim, bent it, and then bounced back and went into the trailer tandem. But he just glanced, and this was in a Honda Accord. So, guy was really lucky. But in the ambulance, he was already saying, the guy come over on me. Okay, and we got the DriveCam footage. And we showed it to the trooper, because you can call DriveCam, and they'll assign it, tell you the event number, and you just go in there and you log on and you get it. So my coordinator's sitting there with the trooper car, playing the event, and he definitely come over on us. But had we not have camera, it's a lawyer. You know, we would have paid our National Interstate, our insurance carrier, and their insurance carrier. They would have come to some settlement, because it's a he said, she said deal, and they don't want to litigate it. So it's just, you know, yeah. And we would have paid the deductible, basically. So I've been out $5,000. Easy.
Now, do you guys have the keypad with the DriveCam for your drivers to do the privacy mode
For the,
on your DriveCam? Do you guys have the keypad options where they can move?
no.
You don't have that?
No, if you're in the, you know, it turns off if the truck stopped. You know, it basically stops recording. Unless there's an event to trigger it. So, you know, if you're sleeping, you're not going to do it. And, you know, you can just pull the curtain.
Yeah. Well,
You know, when you pull the curtain, it's going to cover the camera. And I don't care, as long as the truck's not moving.
Right.
But
Well,
we don't.
I looked into it, they have a keypad option where
Yeah.
the driver could, as long as it's not moving, they can put a code in that
Yeah.
puts it in a privacy mode where they can talk to their girlfriend.
See, I'm not really, well, I'm only going to get 15 seconds of the conversation anyway. DriveCam events, 8 seconds prior, 7 secones after, or that may be backwards. But that's all I got, so I'm really not going to get into your conversation.
Right.
And I had a guy who told me he's a pastor and he has all these serious conversations, and I said, well, you need to have them outside the truck, because the truck is, you know, your workspace. So, and you know, and that was his thing. So that's what I told him. I said, if it's that intense, you know, with your wife or whatever, you know, I mean, don't do it in the truck. And then somebody brought up personal conveyance and stuff. And this is just me talking. Our personal conveyance is shut off, because it's an abuse issue.
Amen.
And you're just playing with fire.
That's right.
If you allow them. Now, if somebody has to have a personal conveyance is a rare thing in its true form. And if we have a driver who has that, he can call his coordinator, and we will put PC on temporary mode. You know, so you can go to the Pizza Hut tonight and get your pizza, and then it'll go back off in the morning. I think it's in the very beginning when we put computers in the trucks. And I mean, we're just like everybody else. We had about 85 owner-operators, and it was rocking and rolling up north, and we were very dependent on them. And of course, the owner-operators, I ain't putting a computer in my truck. I'm not, you know. So we played a little bit of a dance where we could use, all right, well, we're going to let you use PC, because, you know, and they're saying, well, you know, on weekends I want to put my truck in the parade, or I go here, or get it washed, or whatever like that. And most of that isn't true PC. If you're getting your truck serviced on the weekend, that's not falling under personal. Personal conveyance is it's very gray, but it's very, there's a lot of misinformation about personal conveyance. People make up stuff for that. And that's one thing when the DOT comes in, this personal conveyance, they love that. They'll go right for that.
Amen.
But when they come into me, there is no personal, there's a few little scattered, they got nothing there. And I think you are playing with fire if you're letting them do the PC. Now, that's our operation. Now, somebody else may have a different operation, and that's, hey, it's a drop and hook deal. You go to a terminal, and then the guy bobtails down to the, Holiday Inn and diner, and then come back. That's a different deal. We don't do anything like that, so I shouldn't speak out of turn, but that's just a sideline with that PC. I don't trust them to do it as a whole.
Better kind of change gears on you a little bit. How has using Infinit-I impacted your job?
It's made I think I sleep better at night because I know the whole thing, like Dean said, we would do the orientation, you give them the paperwork, and you come to find out he's missing paperwork. He didn't pull it all out of the notebook, So even though as good a job as you think you're doing, when somebody needs it or wants it, it's like, well, where is his, how to put out, accident recording, or accident prevention and incident incident training, how to report it and how to handle it. There it's missing, And now we got an accident where somebody hit a truck that was parked on the side of the road and he got his triangles out. Of course, he said he never heard nothing about no triangles in orientation,
Of course.
Yeah, and we got a guy walking down the aisle with a triangle, but he never seen that, So I think, as a safety director, I know it's done. I know it's documented because that's my always fear is the documentation. Like when you ask me for it, oh yeah, I got it. And I can tell you, like our consultant, he'll tell you, he'll do mock audits and everybody's like, man, I got my stuff checked out. Everything's perfect. Okay, well, let me see your files. Let's just do a DQ file or something. And there's stuff missing. So, I don't think a lot of people aren't as good as they think they are with documentation. I know,
Any other questions out there? Just got a couple more. We'll let you off the hook here. Quick question, what do you like best about working with Vertical Lines Group?
it's just they're great folks. Personal, I think everybody's met these guys here, and they're just great people. They'll do anything for you. I think somebody made a comment that they didn't. So many times you're oversold on things, and underdelivered, and that's not true here. It's more than I ever thought, and I'm still finding out more uses and benefits, and so that's kind of why I come here today, because I think we've just scratched the surface. The custom content, I think, will give us. Everybody's afraid. I think what I'm thinking now is my biggest fear was we're losing the driver connection, that one-on-one. But that can be done with those CEO things, and then it's allowing our people, instead of messing around with trying to meet people and do all this remedial training and ride-alongs and stuff like that. Ride-alongs, we don't do ride-alongs because we got the DriveCam, which is way more better than somebody riding with somebody. We used to have coordinators ride with people, and you look back and you think how ineffective that was. You can catch some bad behaviors, but generally the guy's going to do what he's supposed to do if you're riding with him. Out of habit, you'll catch him. He's, but the combination of that, but I think that can be achieved. And then when you dress it up with all your logos and you're getting that same feeling. And most people they want that pat on the back and say, well, we appreciate you, thanks so much, but they really don't want to hang out with you for an hour. They do want that, a little bit of feedback, but I don't think most people really don't want that. They don't want to see me that much.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I'm gonna let Chris off the hook here, so.